Elias Kane had always dreamed of the stars. From the tiny apartment on Earth where he grew up, he would stare at the night sky for hours, imagining what might exist beyond the familiar blue and green of his home planet. He had read stories of distant worlds, met people who claimed to have traveled to the outer colonies, studied star maps until his eyes ached. But nothing in his childhood had prepared him for Zythera. Zythera was unlike any world he had imagined. Its sky shimmered with two suns, one bright orange, the other soft green, casting the landscape in shifting colors that made everything look like it belonged in a painting. Giant crystalline trees rose from the ground, their branches reflecting the sunlight in glittering patterns. Rivers flowed with a gentle hum, and the air itself felt alive, carrying a faint melody that Elias could almost understand. As the shuttle descended, Elias felt a mix of excitement and nerves. He was here on a mission of curiosity, as a representative of humanity, but he knew he had also heard the stories. Humans were unusual to the Zytherans. They were unpredictable, clever, and curious in ways that the aliens themselves found both fascinating and perplexing. Ilias's shuttle touched down on a smooth, golden platform. He stepped out, adjusting his suit as he surveyed the alien architecture. The buildings were made of a material that looked like liquid glass, yet it was solid, glowing faintly from within. In the distance, he could see a crowd gathering. They were tall and elegant, with skin that shimmered like moonlight. Their eyes were larger than human eyes, and their movements were graceful, almost floating. And then he saw her. Princess Lyria. She stood at the center of the platform, her posture regal, but relaxed. Her hair flowed like liquid silver, and her eyes were a deep violet that seemed to see right through him. She smiled faintly, a smile that carried both challenge and amusement. Ilias's heart skipped a beat, but he forced himself to focus. He had not come here to be distracted. The princess raised her hand. The murmuring of the crowd fell silent. "Welcome, human," she said, her voice melodic, almost like music. "I am Princess Lyria of Zythera. You have come a long way to see my world. But more importantly, you have come to test your skills against our finest champion. If you succeed, I have promised to belong to the one who wins." Elias blinked. The words hung in the air, strange and almost unreal. "Belong to me?" he asked cautiously. "Do not misunderstand," Lyria said, her lips curving into a playful smile. "This is not a matter of possession. It is a matter of respect, recognition, and friendship. You will not own me. You will gain my trust, my admiration, and the chance to show your people what humans are truly capable of." Elias nodded slowly. He had read about such traditions in the Zytheran archives. Challenges were their way of honoring skill and intelligence. They did not use violence to prove worth, they used creativity, wisdom, and ingenuity. And humans were known for excelling in exactly those areas. From the shadows of the platform, a figure emerged. Elias had heard the stories of the Zytheran champion Vorin, and now he saw him in person. Vorin was taller than most Zytherans, with silver-blue skin that gleamed in the sunlight. His eyes were sharp, calculating, and his expression was calm, almost serene. He carried no weapons, for none were needed. His strength lay in his mind, his understanding of patterns, and his mastery of logic and strategy. "You will face me in the trials," Vorin said, in a voice that was calm but commanding. "You must demonstrate your intelligence, creativity, and ability to work with others. Only then can you hope to earn the princess's recognition." Elias swallowed his nervousness. He had faced competitions before, but nothing like this. He was a human among aliens who had centuries of knowledge and experience with these trials. But he reminded himself that humans had something Zytherans often lacked: the ability to think differently, to approach problems from unusual angles, and to imagine possibilities no one else had considered. The first trial, Lyria explained, would be the labyrinth of logic. It was not a physical maze, but a holographic one, designed to test the mind rather than the body. The labyrinth would shift and change as Elias moved through it, presenting puzzles, riddles, and optical illusions that required careful observation and reasoning. Elias followed Vorin and Lyria to the entrance of the labyrinth. The doorway shimmered like liquid glass, and as Elias stepped through, he felt the world around him change. The golden platform disappeared, replaced by a landscape of shifting walls, floating platforms, and glowing symbols that hovered in the air. A soft voice, calm, and even greeted him. "Welcome, human. To succeed, you must observe, think, and act. There is no need for force. Use your mind, and you will find your way." Elias took a deep breath. He studied the first puzzle carefully, a series of floating symbols arranged in a pattern that seemed almost random. He recognized that each symbol represented a step in a sequence. Using logic and trial, he started moving the symbols into the correct order. At first, some of his attempts failed. The symbols would float away, resetting the puzzle, but he persisted. He tried different combinations, thinking creatively rather than rigidly. Slowly, the pattern began to form, and a door opened ahead. He continued through the labyrinth, each challenge more complex than the last. There were illusions that made the walls seem to move, paths that disappeared and reappeared, and puzzles that required not just logic, but lateral thinking. Elias realized that what Zithrans valued most was not memorization or speed, but the ability to see connections others might miss as he solved the final puzzle. A platform rose beneath him, carrying him to the center of the labyrinth. Vorin was already there, waiting. He inclined his head slightly, acknowledging Elias's success. "You are clever, human," Vorin said. "Your mind is different from ours. You see patterns where we see chaos. That is your strength." Princess Lyria stepped forward, her eyes shining with admiration. "Indeed," she said, "humans are remarkable. Your ingenuity, curiosity, and courage are qualities that make your species special. This is only the first trial, but you have already proven much." Leah smiled, a mix of relief and pride washing over him. He had faced the first challenge and had not only survived, but impressed the Zithrans. He realized that the trials were not meant to intimidate him. They were meant to honor intelligence and creativity, values he held dear. The princess gestured to a balcony overlooking the labyrinth. From there, Elias could see the crowd of Zithrans who had gathered to watch the challenge. Their expressions were not hostile, but curious, interested in this human who dared to take on their champion. He felt a sense of connection, even among such alien beings. "Rest now, human," Lyria said. "The next trial will test not just your mind, but your imagination and your ability to create. Prepare yourself." Elias nodded. As he walked back to the preparation area, he reflected on what he had learned. Zithra was not just a planet of beauty and wonder. It was a place that valued thought, creativity, and connection. And humans, despite their short history among the stars, had something special to offer. He looked up at Princess Lyria, standing gracefully with her silver hair catching the light. Her eyes held curiosity, amusement, and respect. Elias felt a thrill of anticipation. The journey was just beginning, and he was ready to show what humanity could do. For the first time, he understood that the challenge was not just about winning. It was about understanding, learning, and connecting across worlds. And Elias Kane, human among aliens, was determined to rise to the occasion. The suns of Zithra set, casting the landscape in deep violet and gold. The first trial had ended, but the adventure was far from over. Elias could feel it in his bones. This world would test him, would surprise him, and teach him lessons he could never have imagined. And through it all, humans had a chance to shine in ways no one else could. With the stars above and the glowing landscape around him, Elias Kane smiled. The challenge had begun, and he was ready for whatever Zithera had in store. The next morning on Zithera, Elias woke to a soft golden light filtering through the translucent walls of the guest chamber. The air hummed with quiet music, an ever-present feature of the planet that seemed to resonate with thought itself. He had barely slept, too excited to rest fully, replaying the events of the labyrinth of logic in his mind. He had succeeded in the first trial. But the challenge was far from over. A soft chime echoed through the chamber, signaling the start of the next trial. Elias stretched and followed the corridor to the central plaza, where a crowd of Zithrans had already gathered. Princess Lyria stood at the forefront, her silver hair shimmering in the twin sun's light. Beside her, Voron's calm presence exuded quiet confidence. "Welcome back, Elias," Lyria said with a warm smile. "Your first success has been impressive. But now, we test another quality: creativity. Your mind will face the Symphony of Spheres." Elias raised his eyebrows. "Symphony of Spheres?" Lyria gestured to a large open area. Hundreds of glowing floating spheres hovered above the ground. Each sphere pulsed with light, shifting colors and mesmerizing patterns. "You will arrange these spheres," she explained, "into a form that produces harmony. Each sphere contains energy that reacts to movement, light, and sound. Only by arranging them correctly will the symphony emerge." Voron stepped forward. "This trial is not only about accuracy, it is about imagination. Zetherans excel in structure, but humans often bring unexpected insight. Show us your vision." Elias approached the spheres cautiously. They floated in the air, responding to the slightest movement, and he could feel a subtle hum in his chest as he focused. At first he tried to approach it logically, moving spheres to match simple patterns he had seen the day before. But soon he realized that this trial demanded something more, something intuitive. He remembered the stories from Earth about art, music, and improvisation. Humans had long used imagination to create beauty from chaos. He closed his eyes for a moment, listened to the hum of the spheres, and let his instincts guide him. Slowly, he moved the first few spheres into a swirling formation. The light responded, brightening in harmony, and the sound shifted into a gentle, melodic tone. The crowd murmured with surprise. Elias smiled. He had tapped into something the Zitherans had not expected, a human sense of pattern that was not rigid, but fluid, like water flowing around obstacles. With each movement, the spheres danced in response, forming complex spirals, crescendos of light, and melodic echoes. Princess Lyria's eyes sparkled with admiration. "Remarkable," she whispered. Voron tilted his head, studying Elias's method. There was no malice in his gaze, only respect. Humans were unpredictable, and that unpredictability often revealed brilliance. After several minutes, the symphony reached its peak. The spheres formed a cascading sequence of light and sound, each element perfectly aligned yet uniquely expressive. Elias stepped back, breathing heavily, as the crowd erupted in applause soft. Musical claps that resonated in harmony with the spheres. "You have done it," Voron said, his calm voice tinged with approval. "Your creativity is exceptional. Humans see not only what is, but what could be. That is your strength." Elias grinned, feeling a surge of confidence. The first two trials had tested his mind and imagination. Now, the final test awaited the challenge of collaboration. Lyria led Elias to a different area, a wide-open space filled with Zitharan citizens. They stood in groups, each group holding pieces of machinery, floating tools, and intricate panels of glowing technology. The goal was simple to describe but difficult to execute. The groups needed to assemble a device that could capture sunlight, store energy, and distribute it efficiently across the city. Humans and Zitherans would work together, and Elias had to lead the effort. Elias took a deep breath. He had never led a group of Zitherans before, and he knew that communication would be the hardest part. Their language was different, their thought processes not quite the same as humans. But he remembered the lesson he had learned in the labyrinth: observation, patience, and curiosity. He approached the nearest group, speaking slowly and clearly. "Hello, I am Elias. Let's work together to build this device. I have ideas we can try, but I want to hear yours too." The Zitherans tilted their heads, intrigued by his approach. Unlike many humans who might try to take charge, Elias was inviting collaboration. Slowly, the group began to share their suggestions. Pointing to panels, gesturing, and creating holographic diagrams in the air, Elias listened carefully, taking in every detail, then offered adjustments based on what he had observed. He suggested connecting certain energy conduits in ways that Zitherans had not considered, combining efficiency with flexibility. They tested his ideas, and when something did not work, Elias encouraged them to try again rather than showing frustration. His calm persistence created an atmosphere of trust. Across the space, other groups faced challenges. Some became frustrated when the panels did not fit perfectly, or when energy conduits malfunctioned. Elias walked among them, offering advice and sharing small tips that encouraged collaboration. Slowly, the teams began to work more smoothly, combining their knowledge and his human perspective to solve problems creatively. Princess Lyria watched from above, clearly impressed. "See," she said to a nearby advisor, "this is why humans are so fascinating. Their strength is not in force or speed, it is in connection, empathy, and adaptability. Elias does not dominate, he inspires." Hours passed. Elias and the teams worked tirelessly, adjusting, testing, and refining. The device slowly came to life, its panels glowing as sunlight streamed in, energy flowing smoothly through the network. Finally, with a last adjustment from Elias, the device activated fully, distributing energy evenly across the simulated site caps. The Zithran crowd erupted in applause. Vorin stepped forward, his expression calm but proud. "You have succeeded," he said, "not just through skill, but through the very human quality of connection. You have shown patience, empathy, and vision. These are qualities we admire greatly." Elias felt a warmth in his chest. This trial had been the hardest, but it also highlighted what he had always believed. Humans had something unique to offer the universe. It was not just strength or speed, but the ability to think differently, to create solutions from unexpected angles, and to inspire cooperation. Princess Lyria descended from the balcony, her eyes shining. She walked to Elias, extending her hand. "You have passed the trials, Elias Kane. You have shown intelligence, creativity, and the power of collaboration. You have earned my respect, and, as promised, my recognition." Elias took her hand, feeling the subtle warmth of her skin. "Thank you, Princess," he said. "I am honored. This has been more than a challenge. It has been a chance to learn and connect. I hope our peoples can continue to share knowledge and friendship." Lyria smiled. "That is exactly what this challenge represents. Not victory over another, but understanding, growth, and the celebration of qualities that make each species unique. Humans are remarkable. You have proven that today." As the crowd began to disperse, Elias looked around at the Zitherans he had worked with. They were curious, intelligent, and graceful. But he realized that what had made the difference in this trial was his human perspective. He had dared to think differently, to try what others might have dismissed. Vorin approached him, nodding. "You have exceeded expectations, Elias. Your mind, your creativity, and your ability to inspire collaboration are exceptional. Zithra will remember this day." Elias smiled, feeling both pride and humility. He had faced trials that no human had ever attempted before, and he had succeeded not through force or luck, but through qualities that defined his species. In the soft glow of Zithra's twin suns, he felt a deep connection not just to the aliens around him, but to the idea that humans truly could shine among the stars. As night fell, Elias returned to his chamber, exhausted but exhilarated. He reflected on the trials, on the puzzles he had solved, the symphony he had created, and the device he had helped build. Each success had been a reminder that humans had a place in the universe, not because they were the strongest, but because they could see the world in ways others could not. He lay down, listening to the soft hum of Zithra's energy. Tomorrow would bring the final step of the challenge, the day of recognition, when Princess Lyria would formally honor his achievements. But Elias already knew one thing: whatever happened next, humans had shown they were more than capable of standing among the stars. And in that moment, as the twin moons of Zithra rose in the sky, Elias Kane felt a sense of hope and pride that reached far beyond any single challenge. He was human, and that was enough. The morning sun rose over Zithera in shades of orange and violet, casting long, shimmering shadows across the crystalline landscape. Elias Kane awoke with a mixture of excitement and nerves. Today would be the day of recognition, the final part of the challenge. The trials were over. He had solved the labyrinth, conducted the Symphony of Spheres, and led the collaborative project with skill, creativity, and empathy. Now it was time for Princess Lyria to honor him. Elias dressed quickly, checking the small device he carried for communication and translation. Though he had grown accustomed to Zitharan language and gestures, he wanted everything to go smoothly. As he stepped out onto the plaza, he was greeted by a crowd larger than any he had seen before. Zitharans from all over the planet had gathered to witness the ceremony. They moved with grace, their eyes shining with curiosity, pride, and admiration. Princess Lyria stood at the center, flanked by Vorin and several other high-ranking officials. Her expression was calm but radiant, her silver hair catching the morning light. Elias approached her, feeling the weight of the moment. It was not just about him, it was about humanity. About showing what humans could do, even in a world as advanced and alien as Zithara. Elias Kane, Lyria began, her voice carrying easily across the plaza. You have completed the trials with intelligence, creativity, and a spirit of collaboration. You have not only impressed us with your skills, but you have demonstrated the qualities that make your species remarkable. Elias felt a warmth spread through him. He had expected praise, perhaps even admiration, but hearing it spoken aloud by the princess herself was overwhelming. He nodded, trying to keep his composure. The labyrinth of logic tested your mind, Lyria continued. The Symphony of Spheres tested your creativity. And the challenge of collaboration tested your ability to connect with others and inspire teamwork. In all three trials, you have shown not only competence, but humanity's the ability to think differently, to care, and to innovate. This is why I, Princess Lyria, recognize you today. She stepped closer, holding out her hand. As promised, I belong to you not as property, but as a friend, an ally, and someone who respects your achievements. Humanity has proven itself worthy, and you, Elias Kane, have proven yourself exceptional. Elias took her hand, feeling a subtle energy that seemed to resonate with the twin suns above. Thank you, Princess Lyria, he said. I am honored. But this recognition is not mine alone. It belongs to humanity and to the people of Zithara, who welcomed me and allowed me to learn from them. I hope this is only the beginning of a long friendship between our worlds. Lyria's eyes sparkled. That is exactly the spirit I hope to see. Humans have something we value greatly, the ability to imagine, adapt, and connect. Your actions today will be remembered not as a victory over another, but as a celebration of potential, creativity, and cooperation. The crowd erupted in applause, their sounds echoing in harmony with the soft hum of the planet. Vorin approached Elias and nodded, a gesture of respect. You have surpassed expectations, he said. Your human qualities are extraordinary. It has been an honor to witness your journey. Elias smiled, feeling a sense of fulfillment he had never experienced before. He had faced challenges that no human had ever attempted. Yet he had succeeded not through force, but through thought, creativity, and the ability to inspire collaboration. Humans were capable of great things, and today, Zithara had seen it firsthand as the ceremony continued. Lyria led Elias to the edge of a cliff overlooking a valley filled with glowing crystals. The suns reflected off the crystal formations, creating a breathtaking display of colors. This is Zithara, Lyria said softly, a planet of beauty, challenge, and opportunity. And now, you are part of our story. Elias took a deep breath, letting the beauty of the world sink in. He thought of Earth, of the people he had left behind, and of the limitless possibilities that awaited humanity among the stars. For the first time, he truly understood the meaning of the challenge. It was not about winning, but about demonstrating what humans could offer: curiosity, ingenuity, empathy, and the courage to face the unknown. The next hour was filled with celebration. Zitharans approached Elias asking questions about Earth, sharing their own stories and expressing admiration for the human way of thinking. Elias answered with patience and enthusiasm, showing them the same curiosity and openness that had carried him through the trials. Lyria stood nearby, observing with a quiet smile. At one point, she spoke directly to Elias. You have proven that humans can be more than we expected. Your species does not simply adapt to innovate, create, and inspire. This is why I chose to honor you, and why I believe our worlds can learn from each other. Elias nodded. I hope so. There is so much we can learn from you, too. Your technology, your culture, and your way of thinking are incredible. Working together, humans and Zitherans could achieve things neither of us could alone. The princess's smile widened. Exactly. Today is not just about a human and a Zitheran. Today is about the future of collaboration, the potential of friendship, and the celebration of unique qualities. You have reminded us why diversity of thought, culture, and perspective is so important. As the twin suns began to set, Elias and Lyria walked together through the crystalline city. Citizens waved and offered greetings, their curiosity blending with respect. Elias realized that this experience was more than a personal victory. It was a bridge between worlds. Humans, with their unpredictable creativity and empathy, had something unique to offer, and Zitherans, with their wisdom and advanced knowledge, had much to teach. They arrived at a large garden filled with luminescent flowers, each pulsing gently in the evening light. Elias, Lyria said, turning to him, I want you to know that your presence here has changed us, not just in what you accomplished, but in how you approached every challenge. You reminded us that strength is not measured in power or speed, but in thought, imagination, and heart. Elias felt a lump in his throat. Thank you, Princess. That means more than I can say. I came here to understand your world, but I feel like I've also shared something of my own. Humans may be small in the universe, but we can make a difference in unexpected ways. Lyria nodded. And you have done exactly that. Your achievements today will inspire Zitherans for generations. But more importantly, they show the potential of humanity across the stars. Your species has a unique spark, and I am proud to recognize it. As night fell fully, the city glowed with the soft light of the crystals, casting Elias and Lyria in an almost magical aura. They stood together quietly, watching the twin moons rise over the horizon. Elias felt a sense of peace and accomplishment that he had never known before. The trials had tested him, challenged him, and allowed him to demonstrate the best of human qualities. Princess Lyria finally spoke, her voice soft but firm. Elias Kane, you have proven that humans are remarkable. Your intelligence, creativity, and empathy have won not just my recognition, but the respect of my people. This is more than a personal achievement. It is a triumph of humanity itself. Elias smiled, feeling a deep sense of connection. Thank you, Princess. I hope our peoples can continue to learn from each other. Today is just the beginning. Lyria's eyes gleamed. Indeed it is. And perhaps in time our friendship will lead to discoveries we cannot yet imagine. But for now, we celebrate. You have shown that humans can shine among the stars, not through force, but through qualities that inspire, create, and unite. The ceremony ended with music, light displays, and a shared feast between humans and Zitherans. Elias laughed and talked with citizens, feeling accepted, valued, and respected. He realized that HFY humans are special was not about dominance or conquest. It was about imagination, empathy, creativity, and the ability to bring something new into the universe. As the festivities quieted and night fully settled over Zithera, Elias stood with Princess Lyria on a balcony overlooking the glowing city. The hum of the planet, the soft light of the crystals, and the gentle melody of the wind created a moment of serenity. Elias, Lyria said, you have accomplished something extraordinary. You have shown us the power of humanity, and you have reminded us why diversity matters. Our worlds are different, yet we have found common ground. That is something worth celebrating. Elias looked up at the stars, then back at the princess. It has been the honor of my life. Humans are explorers, thinkers, and dreamers. And today, I've learned that no matter how far we travel, the qualities that make us human, curiosity, creativity, and empathy, are what truly matter. Lyria smiled. And those qualities have earned you not only recognition, but friendship. That is something even more valuable than any trial could measure. Elias felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He had faced the unknown, adapted, learned, and demonstrated what humans could do when given the chance. Zathera had tested him, inspired him, and ultimately celebrated humanity through his achievements. As the night deepened, he stood alongside Lyria, looking out at the glowing city, the twin moons, and the endless sky. The trials were over, but the journey of understanding, friendship, and exploration had only just begun. Humanity had left its mark on Zathera, and Elias Kane knew that this was just the beginning of a new chapter for both worlds. And somewhere deep inside, he smiled, knowing that humans could truly